Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live.
Move forward. So with that, I think I'll go back to the listening mode. I wish to hear more views from other people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for those that are on the listener mode and you're struggling, I've been informed there's a lot of challenges hearing us. I'll try to refresh. If someone can write to us and let us know if it's any better now, because it looks like there is an issue. Mtai, do you have something? You probably had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, Justin. There's something interesting that Eddie mentioned, and I thought that perhaps you could say, tell me something about it. He said that the structures for democracy are not working. And yesterday, Raila Odinga said that at the national level, during the conclave, perhaps you could involve the civil societies. And what caught my ear is the fact that he mentioned the members of parliament being a part of it. Isn't it enough that the members of parliament already have a parliament to discuss the issues? Why do they need a conclave to come and, discuss with us the issues? Can you maybe comment on that?
That's a good point. It affects comment on it or myself? I can bring in someone else.
You just did.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to make comment on it, then the moment you start bringing in the members of parliament, then you are simply going against the same constitution that you said the sovereign power belongs to the people and can be exercised directly or indirectly delegated. So if you are going to bring in, you already delegated, and those people you delegated to have failed, and then you start coming into this situation where you are recommending a dialogue or a conclave where people are going to exercise it directly, then the people you delegated to and fail should not come in, because that's already been written off. So to agree with you 100% on this is that that's a contradiction by itself, based on that his interpretation of Chapter 1 of the Constitution. So my opinion is that once these people come together, if it ever gets there, and they agree to have this dialogue without going through the elected people, then they should not be allowed even at the national level to come in, because now we are going to have a new pathway on how we want to be governed. And then we are going to dictate this, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do our elections, we're going to stagger our elections. We have to decide. We have to come up with our own framework. And framework will even include by having that transitional council that is going to help us move forward. So that's a contradiction by itself, because then it doesn't capture the spirit of what people want to see happen. We are done with the parliament. We are done with whether it's the current government as it's constituted. So people want to exercise their power directly. I don't know if that responds to your question. Yeah. And then okay, so I'm probably gonna bring in Mheshimiwa Josephine, and then Wanda will come in after that as we proceed. And thank you very much for being here. If you can share the space, invite somebody. I want us to have this conversation. There's a lot to cover, and some of them include, some of these statements that are leaking. But I think Anthony left, and I really wanted to clarify to him that I've gone back and checked the Jeremiah Kioni statement. He did not deny that Uhuru called Raila. He did not deny that Uhuru called Raila. What he said is that it's not Uhuru who made Raila's party or Raila to join the broad base. Those are two different issues, and I think it needs to be understood in that context. So I just wanted to get that information clear to Anthony, so that there's no contradiction on the statement that we were addressing earlier. Mheshimiwa Josephine, karibu sana.
Thank you, Justice. Mutai, thank you for hosting, and all the panelists, thank you so for your speech. And all the listeners as well, we really appreciate you, because when you are in the space, when you are not in the space, we cannot speak, because we cannot speak to ourselves. But when we are all together, we speak, and it makes a difference. Yes. And the question is whether we have any question for Raila after having watched the interview. And for me, as you've known me, many times I've said this and I'm repeating the same again. Personally, I don't have anything to ask Raila because whatever Raila does, he does as per his decision, and that's his own personal decision. However, the Kenyans, we've decided never to decide to think, understand, and say this, despite he has said that this is his principles. We always want to carry him in our bags and in our shoulders. Even when he disappoints us, we still carry him. Fellow Kenyans, I think, personally, Raila, whatever he's saying and whatever he's discussing, and even the meetings that he's calling for, the truth is, he's only trying to prove that I am in control. Because of the ego, he cannot accept that he has lost. And actually, he has even lost his popularity. And for that reason, he cannot also accept that or acknowledge that he betrayed the Kenyans by joining the government. And for that reason, he has to keep on telling us, I am in control. Because what happens is that any person, the moment they rely on so much lies, and they give a lot of lies, eventually, and what they are trying now to balance whatever they believe, and now whatever you are confronting them as a fact, telling them this is a fact, they will never buy that. If at all anything, they will actually try to moderate it and make it look parallel from whatever you are saying. And they will even tell you have overreacted on this, despite that it is the ideal fact. So, fellow Kenyans, I think it's good to discuss about the interview and whatever came out of Raila. However, Raila is not on contest because by the end of the day, Raila forever said, nice, I think it's a two. We just need to allow this old man to rest and continue just playing his games, because what he's doing right now, even if he were to say anything, he's not using his own mind. He's only trying to make you feel good and feel that he has spoken and he has said something, even if he doesn't mean what he's saying. And for sure, for him even to tell you that I will be supporting Ruto in 2027, it's ironical because the truth is, you can even read the mood, even as time goes. He's trying to remain relevant so that he can appear like he's in control, the way Anton was just saying. But the truth is, Raila has lost control, and we don't even need to deliberate about him. If we don't want to lose our focus on the interest of what we are for the nation and what we are chasing, by the end of the day, Raila is just like another dog barking on the door, and now we want to start throwing stones at him. It will not help us. Can we keep on the focus? Can we watch on what we want? What are we looking for? What are we focused on? And what's our end goal and our end result? Right now, if we would be thinking about actually ensuring that we mobilize as many people as possible, for the Gen Zs who do not have IDs, for them to get IDs, and then we start also pushing for registration as to become registered voters. Then from there, now we should be focusing on also kicking Ruto out, not waiting for 2027. We should kick Ruto out before 2027. I thought we would be discussing about that Prado in Machakos and the 20 million again in Machakos. I think that would be a good thing if we would discuss about that. It's okay. I really appreciate that we feel it's a good topic to discuss. But Raila right now, he has lived his life. He has done what he could have done for this country. Any other decision that he makes, either it being right or wrong, Raila will be meant to be right, because as by his age right now, he cannot make any great change in our nation. And that's what I would wish to submit. Kindly, let's not lose the focus or lose ourselves trying to put Raila in the topic while he cannot help us much right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I want you to stay on there because I'm going to address something with you on this. I keep clarifying this for everybody that is joining. Raila is not our topic for today. I want to be clear, and I've said it 10 times and I will repeat it again. What we are addressing are some key issues that came up in the interview that he had, which cannot be ignored. And one among them is the issue of what does he think? And of course, let's talk about them needs to happen with the IBC in terms, and of course, he talked about the restoring the confidence, the trust, and all that, registration of the voters, cleaning up the register, and of course the IDs, and we shouldn't even be talking about voter cards and stuff like that, which I think they are no longer in use. So in that regard, Josephine, before Wanda comes in, then what is the strategy in place for the citizens to participate in the cleanup of the voter register? Because I think we are relying on the same secretary that has been there in place, and of course with the the now commission being there, but the secretary is going to be doing the same thing they've been doing. And do we believe and trust that these people are going to give us a clean voter register as things look at this time? Okay, that's not even a fair question. And what should we do to make sure that we have a clean voter register? Josephine, before I go to...
Thank you very much. Basically, right now, what has been happening in the previous years, IBC has been doing the cleaning of the voter register, and then it is shared in the public domain for people to see. So that if there's anybody and this person is dead and is still in the register, you can raise queries. That's what has happened. Right now, we do not know which criteria they will carry out. But our key thing here is not even the register, because the truth is we cannot claim that we have around 1 million dead people in the country right now, even since the previous election to up to the next election. What we need is to have all the Gen Zs registered as registered voters and in the right places where they are sure they will vote from there. That's the only way we shall knock this government down and down, because I'm looking forward to see it coming up the way it happened in 2002, whereby actually the margin which actually the election was won was so huge that even Moi, having all the powers and all authorities, he just raised up his hands and surrendered, and they said we cannot do anything about it. And that's what I'm looking at. If we have as many youths as possible registered, I think we have around 11 million youths who are not registered. Once we get them registered, then we are good to go. Let Ruto do whatever he thinks he can do, but I can assure you he's not going to win.
What I need is, and of course, and I believe you being in that arena, what has come up, including what John Band said, probably I think maybe yesterday or the day before, and what probably has been in the public domain, is that successful governments have been suppressing even issuance of IDs, sometimes even voter registration, into especially to territories that they find that they are more hostile to the government. Now, we have seen cases where, and the case in point is the one for Samburu, where Kipchumba Murkomen is talking about the 92,000 registered citizens who don't have IDs. I don't know what that phrase means. And then he's sending the chiefs and the sub-chiefs to go and look for them to come and get the IDs. Now, we are dealing with real issues, affecting real people. What mechanisms can be in place, or can we propose to ensure that there's fair and make sure there's maximum registration of persons when it comes to getting the IDs for those that have attained the age? Is there anything practically different that can be done other than still relying on the government of the day? Is there anything that can practically be done?
Basically,
and then I'll bring in Wanda.
Thank you very much, Justice. Basically, actually, that is the same government which is supposed to register these citizens and give them IDs. So our role right now is pushing to see as many are arrived as possible for issuing IDs to the people. And when we don't see that, we push the government and make them know that we need registration to take place and we need people to be issued with IDs. Otherwise, it's the only government who's supposed to do that. But otherwise, once we keep on relying on what Kipchumba, Kina Oscar Sudi are telling us, they are trying to distract us from the main agenda. So that by the time we wake up,
but
already
the movement is the government. You're saying we tell the government, no, Josephine, get me right here. You're saying we should tell the government instead of relying to Kipchumba is the government. It's actually the minister for for Interior that is in charge of that registration. Do we need to? Is there an audit system that can be generated? Is there something? I want you to think through that, because I have another question. If you are not leaving right away, I have another question for you later. Let me bring in Mwalimu Wanda. I'll bring you on that. One, I think I had your hand up. And I want you to submit on that. But I also want us to really look into this issue of our discussion today, that it is not about Raila, it's about the contents of that interview and the issues that came up, which have far-reaching implications when it comes to our civic duty, our next elections and all that. And that's probably how I want us people to interpret this, so that it doesn't look like I'm here to defend Baba. You see, even my co-host, Mutai, ended up changing. I'd said, do you still have questions for Baba? They had to change the name from Baba to Raila. It's okay. Wanda, come in.
Justice, hatuwezi raise your hand. Sijui mbona. We cannot raise hand to you. Sijui mbona.
Okay, go ahead. Tommy, did you want to?
Thank you so much.
Okay, after that, Tommy will come in. Sorry, Tommy. After Wanda, proceed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And I like how you're putting it that the moment we narrow down the discussion to discuss an individual, then we end up losing it. For instance, I look into his argument and his logic in feeling like if a NADCO report was implemented, maybe the Gen Zs would not have rioted or protested. And to me, I'll say it is true. It's only that we are not looking at things analytically. Instead, we are discussing an individual. I want us to look into one of what NADCO reports ended up proposing in the name of the cost of living and ensuring the economic sustainability of the individuals or the citizens. According to the NADCO report, it was proposed that at least 50%, at least a 50% reduction in the travel budgets for all arms of government. Then I want you to look into how many times we have had people complaining and even terming the president as Ule President Wachopa. They even ended up, or at some point, even ended up feeling like he's not a Kenyan president, but a tourist or a visit at some point. Then part of it economically, that 30% was to be cut in the daily allowances for the state officers. Then we had the fuel levies being reduced. Look at the last part in this section. They talk of the housing levy in the sense that, they were against the housing levy or the VAT on the fuel, but instead to have different alternatives being presented in addressing the housing levy plus the VAT on fuel. Therefore, if you look into those reports without looking into who is saying this, then chances are we may end up looking at it and analyze, is it actually true that if specifics were introduced passed or implemented, we wouldn't have had the challenges that we are facing and actually faced in 2024. Still looking
like
alternatives being presented in addressing the housing levy plus the VAT on fuel. Therefore, if you look into those reports without looking into who is saying this, then chances are we may end up looking at it and analyze, is it actually true that if specifics were introduced or implemented, we wouldn't have had the challenges that we are facing and actually faced in 2024. Still looking